Let's hear it for Geoff.
Mic Drop Comedy, how we doing? First off, I do want to say thank you to Andrea. If not for her, we would not be here tonight. So please make it loud for Andrea for putting this together. Yes. We have a really exciting showcase for you guys. We have a great group that has gone through 6 weeks of just the hardest boot camp you can ever imagine. They're all very, very eager to be here for you guys tonight, and I have the pleasure of being your host. My name is Geoff, spelled with a G. It's not a joke right there. It's just a rough childhood for a brother, I gotta tell you guys. Because growing up, I was always like, Mom, how come you couldn't have given me a cooler black name? And then I was at a bar and I overheard 2 bankers laughing about receiving an application from Quantavious Jenkins. And that's when I realized she just loved me. I'm glad to be the host. As the host, it is my job to kind of get to know you guys a little bit, and also just to go over some of the rules for the show. So please, as the first rule is please no heckling of the comedians. Keep your table talk down to a minimum, and just make sure that you take care of your waitstaff. You guys do that? Yeah. Real quick, is this anyone's first time in Mic Drop Comedy? Yeah. Shout out. Thank you guys for being out here. We really appreciate it. Is anyone else out here celebrating anything special? Life? Okay. The rest of us are just out here drinking on Thursday. Okay, all right. I'm a drinker myself. I'm not an alcoholic though, but I enjoy drinking, which I realize is what an alcoholic might say, but I feel like every year that I was in the Navy, I just started to drink more and more and more. But my thing is that I drink a lot of seltzers. You know, I can't drink Hennessy anymore, because the last time I drank Hennessy, I went out to the bar wearing a Rick James wig. I spent that night looking for a super freak, and I did not find her. So now I drink a lot of seltzers. Whenever people find out, they're like, Geoff, why are you drinking those? Those are for white girls. But for safety reasons, I sometimes identify as a white woman. So. Yes. I came from a military family. I was a military brat. Any other military brats out here? Shout out. What Air Force, okay. A little rough. I was the top tier Navy, a Navy brat. And the one thing I realized though is no one ever thanks military brats for their service and sacrifice. Like whenever someone asks me, Geoff, where are you from? I have to try to figure out which move I'm gonna tell them about, you know? But whenever someone asks me now, I just tell them I'm from the DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Because I had the best experiences of my life there. Like I was there for 9/11, the DC sniper, and I lost my virginity there, so I'll never forget. My dad, he was 35 years as a naval submariner. Yeah. And then I ended up going into the Navy and becoming a cyber officer. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Or as my grandfather calls it, being a pansy. That's not the P word he used, but we're keeping it clean tonight. My grandfather, he is one of my biggest heroes. I love him to death. He was a pilot during Vietnam War, served for about 20 years, and he was actually briefly a prisoner of war too. And little does he know, he's about to experience those exact same conditions next year when we put him in a home. Okay, we got through an elderly war joke, guys. You guys are fun, yes. You guys are a great audience already, man. Yeah, I've loved my time in the Navy. It's been a lot of fun being out there. I always think back on my life and the way I was raised. Like my dad, he raised us religiously, and so we were in a strict environment. So we'd always go to church every single Sunday. And I have to say though, my time in church, it was surrounded by scandal. because my claim to fame was when I was younger, I got caught looking up porn. And that's what my mother decided to share with the pastor in secrecy. And he decided it would be best for me to stand in front of the congregation and repent for my sins. So I'm up there in front of the whole congregation, repenting for my sins to looks of disgust, kind of similar to right now. I got nervous up there, I started to sweat, I was shaking. I dropped the microphone and my little brother just stood up and yelled out, "He still has the lotion on his hands!" I've never used cocoa butter again. I'm 31, unmarried and childless. Okay, shout out, thank you. I know that's really not that old, but for me serving in the Navy, I should have at least been married 10 years ago. At least have one under my belt by now, you know? Like, if I'm being vulnerable with you guys, I'm actually a little scared of marriage. Like, if you're married, make some noise out here. If you're single, make some noise. Alright, some energy in here, that's what I'm talking about. Yes. Like, I'm actually a little scared of marriage. Like, I carry a lucky coin with me everywhere I go in the name of love, because I was doing some research online and I read that 50% of first-time marriages end in divorce. And then about 67% of second-time marriages end in divorce. So whenever I meet a woman, the first thing I do is pull out that lucky coin and give it a good flip. And if she's cute enough, I'll give her best 2 out of 3. I don't have any kids either, which, you know, I just think that's a lot of pressure to put on one person. I know I don't have any kids out here. I'm smart with it, you know. But I say that and watch how the kid comes through the door right now. Yeah, no kids out here, but I do have a goddaughter, which is amazing. Like, it's been amazing to have this goddaughter, because I've learned that kids say some wild things. Her mom was actually in the Navy. We met years ago. Mom was also a cyber officer, and they made me the godfather because they told me I finally needed to grow up. And so I was talking to my goddaughter, Harper, and I was like, "Hey, Harper, I just heard the news that aliens are out here in this world. What do you think about that?" And she just looked at me and said, "Well, you know what, Geoff, since you're not married, maybe you can find an alien woman to marry you." So I told her about Santa Claus. And now I'm no longer a godfather. I do have to say, one thing no one ever talks about, like if you grew up in a military home, is that you're going through and fighting these psychological warfares with your parents on a daily basis. Like, with growing up in a military household, I had to fight against my dad all the time, and I thought I was smarter than him. It was very foolish of me at the time. Like, I remember I was growing up, I was young, my dad made hot dogs and potato salad, which I think we can all agree that potato salad is the worst food ever invented. Like, it is terrible. Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, this is a white crowd. You guys probably love potato salad. How could I? I'll save that joke for another crowd. I do have to get ready to get out of here so we can kick off this showcase, but I'm a big football fan. We have any football fans out here? Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I love football. I love talking about it up here on stage as well, because I always get a lot of energy from the guys, and then I can see which of the women out here were raised with a father in their lives. A big football fan, you know, and I was out watching some Navy football a couple weeks ago at the bar. And while I'm out there, I'm having the time of my life, I'm hanging out with my friends, and I overhear this guy say, "Toodaloo, boys, I'm out of here." Which was very surprising to me, because I looked back and I saw he was a black guy. So I waited till he left his group of friends. I walked over to his table and I asked his friends, "Hey, did I hear that correctly? Did he just say toodaloo?" And his friend said, "Yeah, but Quantavious was adopted by a white family." At that point, I didn't know what to do, so I just skedaddled back to my table.